The Layah Heilpern Show. Sponsored by Step Finance, your go-to DeFi portfolio manager on Solana. Luno, if you're just getting into Bitcoin, it's the perfect place to start. Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Layah Heilpern Show, powered by the VC firm Icon Plus Capital. As usual, this is also sponsored by BlockFi, so check out BlockFi. You can actually get amazing interest rates. I think right now on stablecoins, it's around 9%, which could be the most competitive. So I've actually left the link for you in the description and in the comment section. I use them, I like them, so definitely go check them out. So today is going to be a little interesting actually, because I'm speaking with somebody that I don't know that well. Usually this doesn't happen. So I'm quite excited, and it's going to be very NFT based. So our NFTs are bubble. I think it's pretty hot right now, so I'm excited to chat with him. So he's sort of come out of nowhere in the last 8 months. He's a big YouTuber. He's built a huge community, and he's sort of known as a little bit of an NFT expert. So let's bring him in. It is Matt's Crypto. Hey Matt, how you doing?
How's it going? Thanks for having me on.
I'm good. How you doing? How you doing?
I'm great. Can't complain with NFTs right now. Things are going pretty well.
Yeah, I'm really excited to chat with you because, like I said, we don't know each other that well. So this is just going to be learning about each other, understanding the NFT space. But before we go into the NFT space, I want to know a bit about you because you sort of popped out of nowhere in the last 8 months on YouTube. You built an amazingly engaged audience. Like, it's pretty crazy. So talk to me about that. Where did you come from?
Well, I mean, I guess for people that are, in the crypto space, yes, I did pop up eight months ago, but I've been on YouTube for 12 years actually. So This is not my first rodeo when it comes to YouTube channels. So that's probably in part why the channel is doing so well. I have an idea of how to make a YouTube channel work, but yeah. So like 2 years ago, I got into crypto. One of my buddies runs a mining company in North America, one of the biggest ones actually. And he's been, I was living with him for 5 years throughout college. And so I started to get more interested in it. One thing led to another, started getting into altcoins and then naturally progressed to NFTs. And here we are, made a channel about it and it's doing quite well.
So I actually didn't know that you'd, I mean, I can see now in the background, but I didn't know all of this about your background. So tell me, what other YouTube channels have you built? And I want the full story.
I've probably done over a dozen channels in the last 12 years. There's a lot of, my main one was a gaming channel, a lot of Call of Duty, shooters, first person shooters. And then I've done like trending channels, like top 10 channels. I've done animation channels. I've kind of done a little bit of everything. And then I also consult for other channels, all different kinds, a lot of gaming, some animation, but a bunch of different YouTube channels. So I have a pretty good understanding of how YouTube and how to grow a channel organically. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
I think everyone wants to know how to grow a channel organically. Like, what are your number one tips? Tell me, I need to grow. What are your number one tips?
Well, I actually asked you before we started the show, why do you prefer to do these live? Because I actually think they would do a lot better if you did them as standalone videos, even though we record it, we pre-record it live. Yeah, I think it'll do better if you actually edited out the best parts and added some graphics and stuff like that. I think we'd do actually a lot better.
Okay, we'll have to talk about that after the show.
Yeah,
I like doing it live. I like it. It just feels natural.
It's fun. It's a lot more fun. It's definitely a little bit easier to do from a creator perspective. Like, it takes a lot less time, right? And you have like a great looking show here. So it looks good either way for your end. But I do think you'll see noticeable difference in the view numbers if you do it the other way.
Oh my gosh, maybe I will. All right. Oh, somebody just said, ouch, don't hurt her like that. Not at all. I love this. This is good. Okay, so pre-recorded is better than live. This is good to know. So is this your full-time job, right? Crypto, YouTube?
So yeah, I would say at the moment I have 3 full-time jobs. My brother and I run a production company that's done very well in the last 2-3 years. And then I started the YouTube channel because we also, we consult with other YouTubers. That's part of like the production company gig. But one thing led to another, and now this channel's, existed and it's doing quite well. So I've basically taken most of my time away from the production company while he's continued to run that. I'm doing the YouTube channel full time. I have a private membership on Patreon, And then we also just launched a NFT platform. It's not like a marketplace like OpenSea or anything, but it's a platform that helps you find, identify, and purchase good NFT deals.
I see. Okay. So before we delve into all the NFT stuff, you said you got into the altcoin market, what was it, 2 years ago? Did you say?
Yeah, I would say, yeah, about so.
How did you get in? Like, what do you like about crypto?
I mean, what I don't like about crypto. I feel like you've done a really good job articulating all this stuff throughout, Fox, CNBC, all of your channel, but it's what everyone else says, right? It's protecting you against burning your money with inflation. That's probably the first and foremost thing. I also love the technology behind it. I think one of the things that I like the most about the content part of it is that it involves technology innovation, which is something that I've always found really fascinating. Never really done it on YouTube, but I've always wanted to do something in the technology and finance realm. And so this is like a perfect opportunity to mix content creation, finance, technology all together. I don't know. I mean, I obviously like when it goes up like everyone else. But I just think it's a great technology. I think it's inevitable that it's the future. And this is not just Bitcoin. This is, multiple different cryptocurrencies, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot to say about it, but it's great.
Yeah, no, I hear you. But you do focus a lot on NFTs. So
Mhm.
let's go into this. Where do you see value in NFTs?
I think it's still so early that people are having a hard time grasping where the value is going to be, and I don't think anyone really knows where it's going to end up. I think the best example I can give, because I've done gaming, is if you have played Fortnite, and most people watching have probably played Fortnite at least once or understand what Fortnite is. In the game, it's free to play, right? So anyone can play in the world, which is great. But in the game, there are skins, like character skins you can play as. And this is huge. I mean, they've had marble characters, they've had all different kinds of like really popular pop culture characters in the game. So people will buy those skins, and usually they're $15, $20, and they go through V-Bucks, but really it's $20. And I've bought personally myself probably $2,000 worth of skins in this game.
Wow,
If
that's
you just had
crazy.
those skins as NFTs, you'd be able to own those skins. And then, for example, when I don't play the game anymore, like now I don't play the game anymore, those skins are worthless now. I spent $2,000 I'll never get back. They're in the game and they exist, but Epic Games really owns those
Can
skins,
you not
not
sell
me.
it? Can you so
No,
you bought it. You bought it though, right? But you
right?
can't sell it.
Nope.
You
So
can't sell it
I
back to the
basically spent
game.
$2,000 on skins, and some of them are very rare, like really early on. Like I was playing this thing before many people were, because that's the scene I was in.
And
Um,
they've gone up in value, right?
well, no one knows, because there is no value on them. You can't resell them. You can't really trade them. So no one really knows what the value is. But I'm saying if these were
Right.
all NFTs, for example, I would own them, and I would be able to
Yeah.
resell them on the marketplace at any time to anyone. And some of them, being as rare as they are, I imagine would be worth several $1,000s at this point, because people really want those skins. And the only way you can get them is if you play the game super early on for some of them. So that's like the easy example I can give for a number one use case. That's in gaming. That's one area. I think it's going to be applied to art, to all different kinds of areas in any kind of niche that you're interested in. I think there's use cases for NFTs in many different ways. Another one is Coachella, is a music festival that's out here by us, and they just came out with their own NFT collection called the Infinity Keys, and it's
Hmm.
basically a key as an NFT, right? A digital asset that allows you access to go to Coachella every year for life, for a lifetime. You and another guest can go every single year for life. If you do the numbers every year, if you had to pay for tickets, they're $500 a year. And right, so you pay for the ticket, you go to the event, you have your fun, and that's it. It's over. With the NFT, you can do the same thing. You pay for the NFT, go to the event, come home, and you still own the NFT. So you can go again for the next 10 years if you want to, or you could sell the NFT at any time and kind of get some of that money back, and potentially even get more money than you put in. So I think like NFTs have a ton of use cases, and there's no way we'd cover them all, even in the hour we have. But those are like two examples that I think are kind of somewhat easier for most people to understand. Like this is the obvious use case behind the technology, and it turns like liabilities and one-time purchases into potentially investments and assets for the long term.
So I struggle with NFTs. I'm not against them at all. Like I'm all
Mhm.
for it. Let's innovate. Let's make everybody's lives better. Let's take ownership. So I understand the whole in-game asset thing. For me, that works. I get that, right? I'm also just not a gamer. Like, it's just not in my bones at all. Like, the reason I'm here comes from a much more political standpoint, which a lot of my audience know, in terms of like freedom and all that
Right.
stuff. So the gaming thing I get, but it doesn't apply to me. Okay. But then like the thing with the tickets, you go to a concert, right? And I understand the Super Bowl are doing NFT tickets. You go to a concert, and then I just throw away my ticket. What you just described with Coachella sounds like a season ticket, right? With like
Right.
you would do at a football match that we have at home. So, you know, you have a season ticket, you pay X amount so that it would cover X amount of seasons, however many years. But like I don't get the trading. Like I don't get, why would you make it into an NFT? I just, why would you make a ticket into an NFT? It sounds like a gimmick rather than a real value.
Okay, for the Coachella example, since you brought that one up,
Yeah.
Coachella sells the ticket to me, right?
Yeah.
The regular ticket, like a one time this year I'm going for $500 kind of ticket, general admission. If I can't go for some reason, let's say I get sick or I just don't want to go, I could resell that ticket on like StubHub or eBay or something like that.
Yes.
What happens then is I sell it on StubHub and I pay an outrageous amount of fees. Let's just say it's $100 worth of fees. So 1/5 of the cost of the ticket is now gone, right? So now I basically paid, I only got $400 even though I paid $500. So I lost $100 and I didn't get to go. StubHub makes that money. And then when they sell it, they also get a seller fee. When the person that buys it from me, they take a fee on that end as well. So that person also pays more than if I'm selling it at the same price of 500, they pay, let's say 580 or 590 or whatever. So StubHub makes the money both times there. Coachella gets nothing out of it. If it was an NFT, not the lifetime NFT, just a regular NFT pass, I have the NFT that I bought from Coachella, same way as the ticket. But then when I go and sell it to anyone else, Coachella gets those royalty fees, and they can set that royalty rate as whatever they want. They could be 5%, 10%, right? And that's still 10% is on the high end of what things are right now. And that's still less than the StubHub fees.
Who decides that fee? Who decides that 10%?
Coachella does, or the creator. In this case, it's Coachella, but it could be whoever creates the NFT, right? It doesn't have to be just Coachella. It could be, I've created my own NFTs. Anyone can create their own NFTs. An artist, celebrity, whatever. So you create those royalty fees. And then if I sell it to someone else, Coachella gets that royalty fee from the sale. And then if that person also can't go and they want to sell it to someone else, Coachella gets the royalty fee again. And the best part is that because it's all on the blockchain, it's super easy to do. It's all digital. We can do it from anywhere in the world. So if someone across the world, like, in the UK, for example, wanted to go to Coachella, they could buy the ticket, anywhere in the world. Same way as StubHub, I guess, in a way. But if there's a physical ticket behind it, I have to actually ship it to them, which costs money. And then StubHub's got to verify that I didn't counterfeit that ticket. It's a legitimate ticket. All of that gets wiped away, easier to do, all verified by the blockchain. It's cheaper for people, and the creator actually gets to see that royalty. So they're okay with people reselling because they're going to keep getting a kickback on that sale, no matter what the price is, no matter how many times it's resold.
So because I've never minted an NFT. And so you're saying that if I was to mint an NFT on like OpenSea, Rarible, whatever it is, you're saying that I can actually choose the percentage of royalties, and I will always get paid.
Well, okay. So there's two different, if you're creating an NFT, like your own collection that you've put together, whether it's art or whatever, you create the royalty fee, and you can put that in on OpenSea, on LooksRare, Rarible, wherever. When you minting, technically you can mint your own stuff,
right?
But a lot of times what will happen is I'll put on a sale, right? A public sale, and then other people will mint those NFTs. And when they mint them, it's variable. It depends on if it's like an art project, or if they're all the same, then it's not really that important. If it's an art project where they're each different and you want to have rarities, it's important to have transparency that your items are rare and you're not like hand selecting and favoriting who gets what. So that way, a mint where you're bringing something into existence, essentially bringing that NFT into existence, it's important that it's done as a mint and not just a transaction where I've already minted them as a creator and then you're just buying it off of me. It's important that you mint it so that we can have it randomly generate which one you get. Right.
And then another thing which like stumbles me about what you say as well is the gas fees on Ethereum. So like somebody, so I have NFTs. I've never minted one. And one of the NFTs is now worth like 3 ETH or something like that. And I wanted to counter it. But to counter it, it cost me money. Somebody put like an offer in of like 3 ETH. I wanted to counter it. And to counter it, it cost me like $200, which is wild. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm not gonna counter it. I'm just gonna wait until I get a price that I'm happy with, and then obviously pay the $200 to sell it. Especially if it's like 3 ETH, 4 ETH, it doesn't matter.
So, okay. Gas is a fun explanation because it's very confusing. So I understand your frustration. I mean, when I first got into it, there was a project called Oni Force that I was going to mint a bunch of them. And I didn't because the gas price was more than the cost of the NFT. The gas was like 400 and the NFT was like 200. So I was like, that's ridiculous. I'm not going to pay more in a fee than the thing costs itself. Turns out 2 weeks later, those were worth like $40,000. So I really should have done it. But yeah, the gas fees are a little bit interesting. The price of gas changes constantly. I mean, I'm not sure how familiar you are with how gas works on Ethereum. You do know?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, what you really want to do in NFTs is
go through it. Go through it in case anyone watching doesn't know. Go through it.
Yeah. So basically, every few seconds, the price of gas will change, and that can range anywhere from I've seen as low as like 20 Gwei all the way up to 2,000, 3,000 Gwei, which is insane. And Gwei is just a denomination, a very small fraction of an Ethereum. So it helps you, and instead of 0.0001, it's 100 Gwei, for example. So that changes constantly. And that basically changes based on how many people are using the network at a given time. So if people are sending a lot of money back and forth, or people are all minting an NFT, the traffic on the network goes up, and then the miners will charge you more to get your transaction to go through quick. What you want to do when you're in NFTs, if you're minting something and there's a bunch of people minting it, it's usually unavoidable that gas is going to go high, and they call it gas wars because you basically have to bid higher gas amounts to get your transaction to go through to be able to get part of that mint before it sells out. What happens recently is that most projects are doing whitelists. So they're basically hand-picking people to put on a pre-sale list so that you can mint anytime you want within a certain window. And that way people aren't competing with gas to get their transaction to go through. You'll basically have time, whether it's 6 hours, 24 hours, to find a time when it's convenient for you and when gas is lower, and then you can mint yours at a lower price, a lower gas fee. So the projects are helping the communities save money and gas by not fighting against each other to get into that project. The only thing there is that you usually have to grind and spend a lot of time to get on those whitelists because they hand select who they get in, and they usually want the community to be loyal and interested in the project. And to showcase that, you have to kind of show that you're, active and involved in what they're doing. So it's kind of a trade-off. You can, instead of paying money on gas, you're paying your time to show the project that you're worth being on the pre-sale list. That's kind of where it's gone at the moment. But if you're not minting, generally speaking, I usually try to find time. If you want to buy something or if you want to sell something and list something, I find a time when gas is lower. It's completely variable. Sometimes there are certain days that are a little bit better and times of the day that are a little bit better. When a lot of people are asleep, obviously, that's usually a good time to try to do it. And I would say, generally speaking, right now, anything below 100 Gwei is, I don't want to say it's cheap, but it's better than it's been. 6 months ago, 100 Gwei was outrageously expensive, but now I infrequently find it where it's below 100. If it's below 100, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do some transactions. I'm going to do some trades because it doesn't go below 100 much right now. The scene's extremely hot.
Yeah. Which brings me to my next topic. What about competitors, right? So how do you feel about Solana versus Ethereum? I like, just before you go into it, for me personally, I like the idea that Solana is of course cheaper. But then I am concerned about like the network switches on and off again and decentralization. And for me, that's just kind of bizarre.
Yeah. I mean, no matter what platform we're talking about, there's always going to be trade-offs, right? Some are better at certain things, some are better at others. Solana definitely is cheaper. There are really no gas wars. The thing I would say that I've noticed in my time in, Solana NFTs particularly is that there are a lot of bots that can just force mints, and you can't, I mean, if you're an average person, you like myself, even, like, you really can't compete with a bot. You just can't. So that's one downside, I would say. I also think that the scene, at least at the moment, is much more, there's a lot more people on Ethereum trading Ethereum NFTs. So I would say that if you're looking for, some crazy investments or things that are really going to blow up, or things that really have a lot of potential, I haven't seen any Solana projects recently that have done insane or anywhere near the numbers that Ethereum NFTs would do. That's not to say that it won't. I definitely
But
think Solana's.
why? But why is that?
I just
Is it first
I
mover
don't know.
advantage?
Partially, and I just think that, I mean, a lot of the projects is even for me examples. We launched our own NFT, and we had a choice. We could do Solana, we could do Ethereum, we could do Cardano if we really wanted to. It's just the most users are on Ethereum, and I think it's really important for a project right now to have that demand in order to reach as many people as you can. And so that's where a lot of people are choosing to go, is Ethereum, even though there are still obvious. I don't know, just this where it's at right now. I mean, if you look at the numbers, the biggest platform is OpenSea, and they just passed 1 million users. And this is not even active. Active users is like maybe half of that, maybe like 500,000 people. Total users all time that have made just one transaction on the platform is just past 1 million. So in the grand scheme of things, like that's a very small number of people that are actually doing this and playing with it right now. So you kind of need to reach those people.
Yeah, I mean, so this is like the way I look at it. I think Ethereum right now is ahead of the game simply because it's got that first mover advantage. But if we want to continue at this rate with mass adoption, because I think NFTs have really been the only thing which has brought like the average person in, right? I think that's sort of I think it's very unique in that sense. But I just don't think the average person is going to want to stay on Ethereum. It's just too expensive. So I wonder what that means for other blockchains, even like Cardano.
I honestly hope that there are other competitors that make it that make a push for it, because anytime you have competition, it just kind of forces innovation to be quicker. I think whenever Ethereum actually does upgrade to 2.0, I hope and pray that the gas issue is less of an issue or not an issue at all. But how long can we hold our breath for? I don't know.
I don't know. But let's talk about like where the value comes from, because I often find that quite difficult. Like, okay, the whole Bored Ape Yacht Club, it goes over my head. Like, I'm here to talk about it, but I wouldn't pay for it. I just wouldn't buy one.
Yeah.
So talk to me about where that value comes from.
Well, I mean, for Bored Apes, I don't know what the current price is, but the last time I checked, it was around 100 Ethereum. So somewhere around $300,000 per ape, which is just, I mean, obviously that's outrageous for most people to pay. I think, to be honest with you, this is, I think most people won't say it this way. People that are, and I'm pro NFTs all the way, obviously. But I think the truth of the matter is right now, people that are in the space, that are in it so heavily, are here to make money. That's just the truth. I mean, there are tons of benefits as far as the technology being verifiable, and there's collectors, and there's really cool projects that offer access to certain groups and certain utilities. But the truth of the matter is right now, I think most people that are in it to make money ultimately, whether that's buying something like a Bored Ape and holding it for several years until it goes up until, who knows what price, or just flipping things quickly. I think there are a lot of flippers in the space right now because it's a seller's market, to be honest. There's a lot of demand coming in. Even though there's not a lot of people, there's a lot of money. So I think a lot of people are trying to make their money, while they can, while things are hot. So, I mean, for a lot of people that are getting interested, I would say that they're getting in because they say, oh my gosh, my friend told me about this NFT that he bought and flipped it for 20 grand in a week. That's money that, it's no one else is making. I'm not making. I don't think most people are making in a week in any other job other than maybe a celebrity or professional athlete, maybe. So I think that really draws people in. And then once they get in and they realize they can make money, great. But they start to realize, okay, there are also other things here that are valuable that I didn't really understand until you get into it. And it's kind of hard to just lay it all out in one go. But like I said, like there is access like Coachella. I don't know what those will end up selling for, but there's an argument to be made that if you are a huge Coachella fan, you buy one of those NFTs instead of buying the tickets, and you can go each year. There's also some other perks that I didn't mention, but that add more value to it. Like you can have 10 of your friends do a private dinner at Coachella and a VIP experience. Like there's little things that are adding more value in that case. But I think like there are a lot of use cases for it that people actually will find value in, and they'll meet other people that are in those communities that can provide further value in different ways outside of crypto. I mean, there's so many things I could go through right now, but I think once you get in, you'll kind of understand more. Okay, like this is where the value actually lies.
So how do you navigate? So like if I wanted to start flipping NFTs, right? Because okay, people want to make money, as you said. How would I know? Because the thing is, at least like with altcoin projects, right? Like you can understand who the founders are, what else they've built. You can look at the tokenomics,
Right.
and then also like you work in this space, right? So for me, for example, somebody came to me with a project, and I didn't really get the use case for it. And then like we started talking about other things, and then I was like, oh, why doesn't this sort of exchange exist? And they were like, well, that's what they're building, that's what they're doing. So but because I work in this space, I felt like a what's the word? I felt like an open market for a specific thing. So I understood that, okay, that would actually be really valuable because like the community would need something like that. With NFTs, like how do you break that down? Okay, so it's rare. What else?
Right. I think right now the rarity thing is like is a big deal, and I think it's not going to
Yes.
be much longer. I don't know how long it'll last for, but that's really not a good way to. I mean, in certain circumstances, sure. Like think about a baseball card or a football card or a Pokemon card, right? Like certain cards are more rare. I don't know if you're familiar, but like certain first edition Charizards are selling
Yeah.
for outrageous amounts of money right now. First edition, anything like any holographic first edition Pokemon card selling
Yeah.
for a
I
lot
have
of money.
Yu-Gi-Oh ones, by the way. I have Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Did you have
There you
those in
go.
America, or is that just in
Yeah. I
yeah,
collected
you had
Yu-Gi-Oh
those?
cards. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had Yu-Gi-Oh cards when I was a kid. So apparently
Yeah.
those are
Blue Eyes White
expensive. So
Dragon, you know.
yeah, that's the one I had.
There you go.
We need to
Exactly.
dig
So
those
that you
up.
get like so people can understand that to a degree. I think there's still not a lot of people that, number wise that would trade Pokemon cards still as like an actual investment avenue. Right? Like
Yes,
maybe
exactly.
kids, obviously, like it's fun to play with them and play the game and like collect them and stuff like that. But as an adult, most people would probably be like, okay, it's a kid's game. But
Yes.
really, like the rarity and the scarcity of those really rare cards adds value to them, and people are paying. The market has deemed them to be valuable at this point. Those are 20 years old. Pokemon's one of the biggest IP in the world. So that obviously adds a little bit of, reason for more value in ways that maybe these NFTs are so new. It's like, how can you really say that that's valuable when it's so brand new?
Yeah.
But the truth is like, they're very similar in that way. As far as for Bored Ape, for example, right? At this point, there are more utilities behind it, like access to this community and access to these people in it that you wouldn't get if you're not in the group. But at the start, it's just a picture of a monkey. It's a profile picture collection, really. It's just like, art that some people think are cool and some people think is like, why is this work? Why am I paying money for a picture?
Mm.
But if you compare that and the rarity of those certain things, right? Especially now, because there's such a staple staple NFT in the whole space. Compare them to Pokemon cards. The most rare Bored Apes have actually more value than the most rare Pokemon cards. And I
So
think
wait, I need to internalize that. Wait, pause that. Say that again. The
yeah,
most what?
the most rare Bored Apes, or the most expensive Bored Apes, are more expensive than the most expensive Pokemon cards.
Right.
At least at what the
Okay.
purchase price has been. Now
Yeah.
this is not my opinion. This is market value, right? This is objective. Like this is what people have paid. So I don't believe this. I haven't paid that much, but someone else has. Multiple people have. So the market currently values Bored Ape NFTs more than Pokemon cards. I don't think that'll last for eternity. I think it's going to ebb and flow because it's so new. But the point is that's where we're at right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so the difference between Pokemon cards and Bored Apes is that NFTs are so much easier to transact and verify than traditional sports trading cards. If I wanted to buy a Charizard, I'd have to go to someone that has it in person.
Yeah.
That person might live 20 minutes away. They might live 2,000 miles away or, across the world. And to
Yeah.
go and buy that, they'd either have to ship it to me, which they're never going to do because it's such a valuable asset. I'd have to go there, see that it's legitimate, verify that it's real. buy it, you know, probably have someone that can verify it with me because I don't know enough to verify that it's legitimate, and then purchase that in person somehow. Or maybe we, you know, do a bank transfer. Like there's a whole ordeal. If I want to buy a Bored Ape, I go on my computer right now, click buy, send the Ethereum, takes 45 seconds, and there we go. I own the Bored Ape. And I don't have to worry about it being fake or not because I can verify that it's real on the blockchain. The difference in, they're the same, like they're very similar in what they offer as, like, you know, core value, which is scarcity for this example.
Yes.
But one is so much easier to transact and verify than the other. Not only that, the person that made Bored Ape, you know, the founders of the group, every time they're bought and sold, they get that royalty commission. So they're making
That's
money
amazing.
constantly every time someone sells. So they have every incentive to make sure their project does as well as possible because they're going to get kickbacks from every sale. So everyone's incentivized in a way to use the technology because it's the same thing we've had in some ways, but it's so much better than those old traditional ways.
I still think that it's niche. I still think that
Super.
it's niche.
Super niche.
Yeah, there's like this idea that everybody's in, and you know, but I don't think so. I just think that like it's a craze right now for people to make money, right? So everybody's naturally
Yeah.
going to jump onto it. But I think once the bubble dies down, it will become something niche. Like I don't collect things, right? What I do is hold my crypto, hold my Bitcoin. I don't hold anything else. Like I don't
Best
trade
way.
cards. Yeah, I don't trade cards. I don't,
It's much
you
easier
know,
that
like,
way.
yeah, literally. So, you know, I don't trade any of those things. So I can't, and I don't play those kind of games. So like I can't relate. I'm not an artist. So for me, I feel kind of like, I don't want to say ostracized. That's not the right word, but I just feel that it's just not for someone like me.
I think you are highlighting a point that most people are in right now. By no means am I saying like this is it's perfect. There's a ton of problems still. Like there's a lot of things that are wrong with it still. And like I said, my first point on why things have value, in my opinion, is that people think they can make money on it. That's just the truth of the matter. Like most people in the scene, I would argue, are here to make money at the moment. But I also see that there are so many use cases that are really early on that haven't been figured out the best way to do them yet, and haven't been, you know, onboarding people and making it easy for people to understand and purchase is not there yet by any means. We are so early in this space. My best comparison would be we are crypto in 2014, maybe 2013. We're the internet in 1990s. Like it's early. It's super early. And that's why there's a lot of problems. And that's why people are able to make money so quickly, because someone's winning big and someone's losing big. And the thing that's drawing a lot of people in, I think, and it's not a lot of people, it's maybe, you know, several thousand people, is that people are seeing you can make a lot of money quickly. And who doesn't want to make money quickly? At some point that will change. That narrative, I think, will change, where things like, you know, the FUD about environmental issues and scams, those things will be improved like any technology has. Like, I mean, any new technology that comes out always has issues to start until they get ironed out and it gets better. So I think it's so early that, you know, these things exist and people are here to make money. But at some point, the use cases behind the technology will come to the forefront, and the mainstream will understand, like, this is actually great technology. This is really helpful for whatever I'm doing personally that I care about. And at some point that will take over culture, I think.
I'm just going to address some of the comments because I'm reading through some of the comments.
Yeah.
We got a lot of live comments, which is cool. So some people don't think this is live. So I'd like to confirm that this is 110% live. This is live. We hadn't had a chat beforehand. We've literally just met now. So this is very natural. Somebody asked if I hold any NFTs. I hold 2 NFTs. One somebody actually sent me yesterday. And it's of a famous painter, but I can't remember. It's actually a painting that I've grown up with in my house, and somebody turned it into an NFT, which is cool. And then I hold Boss Beauties, which is the one somebody sent me, which is now worth like 2 point something ETH. But the funny thing is like I don't want to sell it. That's what's messed up.
Why don't you want to sell it?
I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so I sort of feel like it's like the FOMO at the same time, because it's kind of just, well, you know, what if it becomes a Bored Ape, huh? Like I want that 70 ETH kind of vibe. Like, what if this becomes a Bored Ape, you know?
Yeah. No, yeah. I think you have a similar mindset when it comes to crypto investments that I do. I have bought and bought and bought and bought, and I haven't sold anything ever. And I could have, I'm like,
You've
oh, I
never
could sell now.
wait. You've never sold anything?
No. Well, in NFTs, yes, but not in crypto.
You've never sold any crypto?
No.
What are you holding, if I may ask? Can
Oh,
you tell
so
us?
much. Largest is now Ethereum. It was Bitcoin for a while, but now it's Ethereum. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, Solana. I hold a lot of, actually, I hold a lot of Luna. I don't know if you are a Luna fan, know about Luna.
Yeah, I know about Luna. I heard it. I heard it's very good. The tokenomics is what I've heard is very good. The stable
I'm a,
coin, it burns every time you use it, and yeah.
mhm. Yeah, I'm on the train that at some point USDT and maybe even USDC will not be accepted as much as they are now because they're centralized entities. And if people really believe in the decentralization of stablecoins, that US Terra is one of the options that may
Yes.
take over. So for that
Yeah.
reason, I'm a big believer in Luna. Another one that's much like a really, really, really small altcoin is OMI.
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 Yeah.
And it's the cryptocurrency behind VV, which is a NFT platform that is much more geared towards. I think it's a lot easier to get into as a platform than the mainstream Ethereum type stuff. So you guys can check that out if you want to. I'm not going to give you a whole rant on it, but I'm a big believer in that as well. They have Disney and Marvel IP on that with their NFTs because they've actually licensed it from those companies. So I think those will be huge at some point. And then probably like 15 other altcoins.
Wow, and you've never
Yeah.
sold one.
No. Well,
That's
I mean, I did
insane.
sell some at a loss for tax purposes, but
Okay.
like very, very small amounts.
That's wild. That's absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Let's talk mass adoption. How do you see things going from here, right? So like it's kind of unclear what kind of market we're in. I'd still say we're in a bull market, certainly. NFTs are still booming. NFTs have been, I think, a great form of mass adoption, one of the best forms we've ever seen. There's also like a lot of regulation coming. The US is quite hostile right now. So how do you see this space developing from here?
For NFTs or for crypto or both?
Both. Yeah, both. You can start with NFTs.
Well, I mean, one thing I've actually noticed is that when crypto does well, NFTs, the volume gets dried up. I
I
assume people are
noticed that.
going back and forth.
Yes.
So truthfully, one of my strategies right now is to start playing into that because I've seen it twice happen twice now, pretty well correlated both times when crypto runs, the floors start to dwindle quickly. That's usually, I mean, from historically, I've seen it's a good time to buy in potentially, and then vice versa. When NFTs are hot, is when crypto is like when crypto had that decline from November to now, I guess roughly. That's NFTs have been on the up and up, and then like really peaked. I would say like 2 weeks ago, and you can see that on
Agreed.
Google Trends. You can see that on floor prices across the market. Like it's correlated quite well. Now that ETH and Bitcoin are starting to move again a little bit, I'm seeing some floors drop pretty drastically on NFTs. So I think they're like inversely correlated. So I'm going to try to play into that a little bit. But overall, I have a lot of hopium with crypto. So it's like I want us to believe we're in a bull market. I was a firm believer, and a lot of people that I watch, that the end of 2021 would be similar to the 2017 blow off top, where we had like a really big run and a peak. Obviously, that did not happen. Or
Yeah.
maybe it did. If you think that 64,000 or maybe 69,000 was the peak, then maybe it did happen already. I don't think that's the peak. I think we still have more room to run as far as the bull market goes. But because I've gotten so ingrained in NFTs, my day-to-day like worry and care and looking at the prices of all other crypto has gone to like zero. I kind of just check in every once in a while to see like if there are major movements for what I might expect to happen in NFTs. But I'm playing the NFT game right now. And like I said, I haven't sold anything in crypto. So my plan is just hold the technology, the base case, the foundation, the fundamentals behind all of the technology, in my opinion, hasn't changed. Whether there's regulation that, negatively impacts it, probably will happen at some point. I just think that where we're going is going to be far greater than any kind of timing I can do right now. So I'm just going to let it ride.
And with NFTs, then I know obviously you're bullish on the whole idea of play to earn, trading cards. But once everything does die down, Where do you see, how do you see them being adopted? Do you think, it's going to be music? Like, what's the main use case going to be? Just as a side point, just to say, it sort of reminds me of Twitter, actually, because when Twitter first came about, it was like this mainstream platform, right? It was like Snapchat, Facebook, whatever it was. Now it's like really found a niche, which is like in more like intellectual news conversation. It's not
Mhm.
it's not TikTok, right? It's for an older crowd who want to have different types of conversations. So where do you see NFTs going?
Okay, just in general, I feel like you prefaced it with Twitter, which is an interesting comparison. But yeah, I mean, I think what will happen is, if the crypto bull market does continue and we do see like some crazy run, and it continues to be a cycle in some degree, then I think we're going to see a really rough time in NFTs. And maybe even if crypto doesn't run, we'll see that period. I just think, I mean, if you compare it to any, like Bitcoin, for example, after it goes crazy hot, there's going to be a period where it comes back down and people think it's just a fad. People think it's just a, get rich quick scheme or something like that. I think that still has to happen. Or on the flip side, mainstream businesses find a way to make it really easy for people to get into NFTs, because it's not easy right now. It's very time consuming. It's very confusing. There's way too many moving parts. There's way too many abilities for people to get scammed, and there's a lot to it right now. So I don't think it's easily ready for mainstream adoption. That has to happen. Whether that happens soon or not, I don't know. It really depends on what, like, for example, MasterCard, I think, or Visa, I think, has teamed up with Coinbase to try to allow people to buy NFTs with credit cards, which would be a huge on-ramp if they paired with Coinbase as well, because it's publicly traded. I think that's a huge differentiator between Coinbase, and their NFT platform they have coming out, and something like OpenSea. I think people have a lot more trust in Coinbase than they do with these other up and coming platforms.
Of course.
So if they pair with a major credit card company to allow people to buy NFTs on Ethereum through a credit card or a debit card that people already trust, that would be a huge catalyst for where things are going to keep going. And then maybe we won't see an NFT bear market per se. But if that doesn't happen, I really do think we're going to have a period where it's going to get ugly. Most projects will go to basically zero, or, stop doing what they're doing, because it's just, no one's using it anymore. But at the same time, the ones that, and we call them blue chips, but it's hard to say blue chip because it's only been like 8 months for most of these projects. But the blue chip projects, I do think if you can buy them at that, that lull in the market, I think people are going to make a fortune if you can find the right ones. And I don't know what those are. I'll be trying to figure it out, but
yeah. I mean,
we'll
that's
see.
just everything in this market, isn't it? Like, that's just everything with, even if it's like with, what's the next meme coin? What's the next?
Yeah, I mean, if you play it right, you absolutely can make a lot of money, but you're going to have a lot of failures in trying to find the right one, I'm sure. I personally have. I've tried a couple different ones, and I'm like, you know what? I'll just put a little bit of money in there, and who knows? If it goes crazy, great. If it goes to zero, it goes to zero. Like, that's a bet I'm willing to take on some small amounts.
Yeah, I think that's what I always say. I always say, like, the best thing to do is obviously never afford more than you can afford to lose, naturally. But also, it's not just that. It's also like, sometimes you're going to have to wait a while. I feel this way about Bitcoin, right? Like, for me, Bitcoin will always recover. Like, I'm just like forever bullish on Bitcoin. It'll always recover. So you have to be able to afford patience. Like, you have to be able to financially afford patience and wait. But yeah, that's my thing with NFTs. A lot of them will go to zero, just like many altcoin projects. So I'm just very hesitant. And I think it's about finding that value, which I'm not 100% sure what it is long term just yet.
I don't know. I don't know if I have the answer either. I think there are I think there will be use cases for most niches. I just don't know what those will be yet. Like, what the prevalent and most useful mass adopted ones will be. I think play to earn is an easy example that I think is already somewhat obvious. And that will be what is the biggest thing for gaming to start. I think there are so many other things. Like, there are guilds where you can own NFT assets that are playable in the games and then rent those out to like esports organizations or, communities or players. And that will be a business in itself. It's already happening, but I think
Oh
that'll
my
happen
God.
to a much, like, I think esports organizations in the future will be that. That was what they'll be. They'll be like, they'll own a bunch of really valuable in-game assets that they allow their players or their community to use or rent out, and that's their business model. I think that's going to happen.
That just like defeats the whole purpose though, right? Because then like you don't own it anymore. The company owns it, which I think is like one of the issues with crypto, because like we're trying so hard to, create decentralization, but then like these major companies come in, these Web3 VC kind of companies come in and start centralizing the whole damn thing, which will happen.
Well, so I don't, when I say companies, I don't mean like the game companies. I mean like, I don't know
companies,
right?
Companies though.
But they'll own it if they want to, and they can rent it to you if you want, or you can buy it yourself. Like you don't have to have.
But what if they buy it all up and then it's too difficult?
Well, they're not going to buy all of them.
It's coming. I really think so. I really do think so. I think it's like a catch-22. Like we fight so hard to regain our sovereignty over whatever the hell it is, whether it's money, assets, in-game assets. But I do think that they will come in. I mean, I'm sort of seeing this slowly. And that's why I know like a lot of Bitcoiners are kind of uncomfortable with Web3, because it's not what it's supposed to be. But we'll see. We'll see. I just hope things can stay decentralized.
I've seen the conversation a couple of times. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't personally think that will. I mean, it will be an issue to some degree. Like they will definitely own a good stake in the game per se. But there's no way that they're going to own or be able to afford to own everything. If that does happen, I imagine that the market will find a way to make it so that it's not, it's not basically what we're trying to fight against, which is centralization and, monopoly essentially of the space. I just don't think that will happen. But
like I know I shouldn't say this, so I'll like whisper it quietly. But like for example, Michael Saylor, right? MicroStrategy buying up lots of Bitcoin. Just imagine, I'm not saying they are at this point at all, but like what happens if like all these major institutions, because they can afford to, end up buying up all the Bitcoin, right? And then the only way we can get more of a cut is through like some form of Bitcoin ETF or some kind of, share in MicroStrategy, and then you don't actually own the actual Bitcoin. You just own a share in a company that owns Bitcoin, like Grayscale Bitcoin Trust or whatever. I don't know. I'm all ears. I'm watching what's happening. And yeah.
I mean, the answer is don't sell your Bitcoin.
There you go. That's your answer.
Don't sell it, or wait so long enough till they're they make the market price, and then you have to ask for an unreasonable amount of money to sell it.
Yeah.
But that obviously favors the people that are in early and not the mainstream that we are, trying to potentially get on board to understand like the benefits of this, right? Defeats the benefits if someone owns all of it or most of it. I agree with that.
Yeah, that's why it's good to be early.
It is good to be early. I just don't, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, you could be right. That could be an issue. I never really thought about it that way, but I just think there'd have to be a lot. I mean, it had to be a lot of people that are willing to sell to the same handful of companies, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to see how it plays out. It's weird. I'm seeing how everything's going. But like I'm here for it. I'm trying to learn. I really appreciate all the NFT content that you put out there, because I'm still trying to navigate it, and I would like to get more involved somehow, some way. So I'll figure that out. But Matt, where can people find your content? How can they follow you?
So on YouTube, it's just Matt's Crypto, just like the name right down here. There it is. There it is. Boom. Yeah, Matt's Crypto, and then on Twitter, it's just Matt Cabuzio.
Do you have any final thoughts that you want to say?
I'm excited. I think regardless of, the ebb and flow and the ups and downs that's going to happen no matter what, I think crypto and NFTs have a long way to go. And I obviously we're both on the same boat that we think they're going to go to a better place than they are now, a more mainstream place. So I'm excited about it. I would just say, if you are getting into NFTs, obviously I have a bunch of content on my channel you can watch, but I would say also like do your own research, look at other people's channels, learn as much as you can. what I tell all my people in my private community is spend 15 hours watching and participating as if you were going to actually buy certain things, but don't actually buy anything yet. So you can kind of learn like, hey, this would have panned out really well, or I would have lost all of my money because I was totally wrong about this idea that I thought was going to be really good and it wasn't. I know from experience, if you hop right in, you're gonna make failures, you're gonna lose money, it's gonna happen. So if you kind of pretend like you're in and play the game a little bit before you actually spend your money, you'll probably avoid a lot of those mistakes. So just try to learn about it. I think if you learn about it now, this year at all, you're gonna be so early, you're gonna thank yourself later on. That's what I think personally. So
yeah, I tend to take a similar opinion. But Matt, I want to thank you so much for coming on. It's been so great speaking with you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure. And guys, thank you so much for tuning in. The comments have been really funny. I've been watching them as we've been chatting. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. And I will see you all next week. Bye bye.